I want us to start section 5.5 with this triangular relationship between Mount Westonka High School, Minnetonka High School, and Orono High School. We have a few measurements, these two angles, and we know the distance in miles between Mound and Orono. As the bird flies is what this is called, so you don't actually take the road system, you would just go straight there. And it's 5.7 miles. So the question is, they want us to find the distance from Mount Westonka High School to the Minnetonka High School. So that would be our unknown. So first thing we can't do is use SOHCAHTOA because we don't have any right angles. So what we do know is the law of cosines. So one of the things we could do before we even get started is realize we can find the measurement for this third angle since we have these other two. If I take 180 minus those 2 degrees, what we'll get is that this is 32 degrees. Now, if we use law of cosines, what we would do is we would start with side angle x and end with angle 101. So we would do x squared equals 5.7 squared. And we don't have this distance, so let's just call that y squared, minus 2 times 5.7 times the y. But then we have the cosine of 101 degrees. Now, unfortunately, this formula is not going to work for us because we have two unknowns, both x and both y. Because of this, we need a third method to help us solve triangles, and it's called the law of sines. So let's take a look at it. Now, we'll start with learning objective A, and we're going to look at how do you use the law of sines to help you solve triangles for their various side lengths. Right here is the formula for law of sines. And all you do is you pick any two sides and angles. You would never really write all three of these together. So you would maybe do angle A and angle B and just look at these two fractions. Or you could do B and C and do these two fractions. All you do is you set up a proportion. You take the angle and this side that goes with the angle. Same here, angle and its side. Remember, the angle is right across from its corresponding side. Here's angle A with there, and angle C is right here. Now, on this formula above, they have the angles on the top and the sides on the bottom. My initial question is, do you think you can reverse it? Can you put the sides on the top and the angles on the bottom? And the answer to this is yes, either method will work. So what I recommend is to use either the top formula or the bottom to help you do the problem. Write it such that the variable is on the top and you'll make it a lot easier to solve. So let's go back to our initial question. Right here, let's find that distance between Minnetonka High School and Mound, keeping in mind that we knew this angle right here was 32 degrees. So how the law of sines works is come up with a side length and an angle relationship. So that angle and this side go together. And then we have this side, and its corresponding angle is right here. So law of sines would say side length x over the sine of the angle associated with it, which is 101, is equal to the side length of 5.7 over its angle, which is the sine of 32 degrees. Now to solve this, there's two different ways you can do it. You can either do cross multiplication, which means everything on the bottom here goes up, and this bottom here goes up there. Or you could really just do one step. All we really have to do is get x by itself. So here x is being divided by the sine of 101. So to get rid of the sine of 101, all you really have to do is multiply this side by the sine of 101, and then multiply this side by the sine of 101. So then we'll have x equals 5.7 times the sine of 101 degrees. Take that answer and divide it by the sine of 32 degrees. And all you have to do is put this in your calculator. What I would recommend, again, make sure you're in degree mode. I would just type the sine of 101 and times it by 5.7. Get that answer, then divide it by the sine of 32. When you do that, you're going to get that x is equal to 10.6 miles. So I'm actually going to add that to our picture, the 10.6 miles. Okay, let's finish off this problem. Now they want us to find the distance between Orono High School and Minnetonka, so this side length. And I'm just going to call that side length x. So that's the one we do have to find. So let's match up this side with its corresponding angle. So we want to use those two. And then you can pick any of the other two order pairs of angles and sides. I'm just going to use the angle we did before. Let's do 32 and the 5.7 for the side. So setting up law of sines would say x over the sine of 47 degrees is equal to 5.7 divided by the sine of 32 degrees. Now I'm just going to simplify this in a different order. First thing I'm going to do is just type in the sine of 47 in my calculator. So that'll become x divided by its 0.73135. And then I'm going to type 5.7 divided by the sine of 32. And that becomes the number 10.756. Now to solve for x, I'm just going to multiply both sides by this 0.73135. Do that over here too. And simplify. When you do that, x will be 7.9 miles. So we can fill in that information here on the map.